Mandy is one tough, stone-cold, always angry kind of girl. She's not scared of aliens or even Grim Reapers. And honestly, she's more of a threat to them than they are to her.
Here, bonehead. $20.
With her sly ways, Mandy always knows how to win us over, the audience. And sometimes, she even manages to out-crazy Billy. And today, we're here to see exactly that. In this episode, Billy is watching a horror TV show and learns that a ghost can actually possess someone else's body. He finds this idea so fascinating that he asks Grim Reaper to give it a try. And, as we know, Grim is like the chillest god of the afterlife. So, he skips the bragging and temporarily shifts into Billy's stomach instead. Billy, pumped up from the experience, decides he's going to try it too, starting with his dad, but fails spectacularly on the first attempt. So naturally, he tries it again on Mandy, and you guessed it. This time, he actually manages to jump into Mandy's body. This leads to some seriously awkward moments, like Mandy randomly kissing her mom when she least expects it, or accidentally walking into the boys' restroom instead of the girls'. It's like Billy's just doing his usual weird stuff, except now he is ruining Mandy's reputation in the process. But believe it or not, this isn't the last time Mandy gets into such antics. The next moment is even more special and frustrating for Mandy. So much that she ends up giving herself a punishment. This was the first time Mandy got her first taste of love on the show. And honestly, Mandy herself had no clue what hit her, which is why she started acting a little weird. One minute she's all sweet and lovable Mandy, and the next, she's so embarrassed that she's practically running away. Mandy never backs down from a fight. But this time, she had to turn tail and sprint. Literally! There was even a moment where she went to the doctor, hoping to get some treatment for her bizarre behavior. The doctor took one look into her eyes and immediately diagnosed her with a case of love sickness. Of course, Mandy had never felt anything like this before, so she turned to Grim for help. Now, Grim himself wasn't exactly a fan of her crush, so he was more than happy to help Mandy out of her predicament. Mandy gave Grim a full permission to cure her by ripping her heart out and shattering it into pieces. Yep, she was that serious. Her logic? If people fall for her, that's fine, but there's no way she's going to lose herself in love. So Grim begins his treatment by using his favorite weapon. And no, it's not a Sith. It's a lipstick. By this point, Mandy had completely transformed. She was finally back to normal and had tossed her love interest out of her heart for good. That was that for Mandy's first crush. But this wasn't the first time someone had tried to win her over. The same happened with Erwin himself. Only, instead of going crazy like Mandy, Erwin managed to make her lose her mind for him. This was the last episode of the entire show, where the creators decided to give Erwin his moment. One day, Billy, whose brain was operating somewhere around his knees, decided to sell everything in the house, including Grim's powerful weapon. And guess who bought it? Erwin himself. Once Erwin realized the true power of this weapon, he used it to hypnotize Mandy and make her fall head over heels in love with him. Finally, Erwin's wish was granted, and he made sure to enjoy every moment. The Mandy, who usually ignored him, was now going on dates with him. There's even a scene where they share a kiss. Erwin definitely got his happy ending, at least for now. As always, Grim Reaper and Billy tried everything to snap Mandy out of it, but their efforts kept failing in the face of Erwin's hypnotic love spell. Finally, Grim managed to bring Mandy back to her senses, and Erwin's party was officially over. But did it really matter? Erwin already got what he wanted, his first kiss, and with Mandy no less. On a nice summer day, Billy, Mandy, and Grim were out golfing when they ran into Nigel, who was being tormented by a monster named Moldybot. Poor guy was so scared he'd stopped going to his sorcery school just to avoid it. Now, Moldybot is actually a parody of a certain Dark Lord. Yes, that one whose name must not be spoken. So, Mandy decided to turn detective and vowed to uncover the truth behind Moldybot's terrifying presence. After that, they took Nigel back to school. Billy, always eager to help, appointed himself as Nigel's bodyguard, while Mandy went full-on detective mode to crack the case. This was the first time Mandy used her brain Sherlock Holmes style, and she quickly got to the bottom of things. Turns out, the word Moldybot they were all scared of was actually Principal Toadbot, a Dumbledore parody who was so fed up with Nigel that he'd resorted to scaring him just to keep him in line. Now, becoming a detective was no big deal for Mandy, but there came a moment when she switched gears and went full fighter mode, just like Goku. Throughout the show, she's usually seen in her angry mode, but this was the first time she dropped the brains and went all out with her fighting skills, practically destroying everything in sight. No doubt there's one thing Mandy loves above all else: money. When Billy turned into a werewolf, she even considered selling him to the government for a quick buck. So, when she spotted a karate competition poster with a $50,000 prize, she didn't waste a second. She went straight to Grim, hoping he'd help her win. But when he refused, her eyes landed on a shopkeeper who offered to help her with the fight. Little did she know that shopkeeper was none other than her old rival, Eris, who loved causing chaos just as much as Mandy. With Eris's help, Mandy went full Super Saiyan, pumped up for the fight. When Grim caught on to Eris's scheme, he sent Billy into the ring to face Mandy. What started as a simple match between Billy and Mandy quickly escalated into a battle so intense the entire world was practically on the brink of destruction. Diana and Grim, of course, were thrilled. They got to watch an epic fight. In the end, Mandy not only destroyed everything around her, but also snagged the $50,000 prize. And if we're talking about destruction, there's even a moment where Mandy goes crazy and she ends up becoming an alien. One day, Billy was begging Mandy and Grim to play with him, but both of them were too busy, so they turned him down. Feeling sad, Billy wandered outside, where he spotted a broken star on the ground. When he got closer, he realized it was actually a brain-eating alien. Naturally, Billy made friends with the alien, and soon enough, the alien asked Billy to bring him some humans to snack on their brain. Billy, always eager to help, started bringing him people to munch on, until finally, only Mandy was left. So Billy brought her over to the alien, not knowing the alien was in for a nasty surprise. After eating Mandy's brain, the alien couldn't handle it, and well, that was the end of him. But it wasn't just over. Mandy ended up taking over the alien's mind. And guess what happened next? Yup, Mandy now had a taste for brains and asked Billy to go fetch her a whole bunch of humans so she could have a brain buffet. Then there was a time Mandy got herself into a situation so uncomfortable that even she was bothered by it. Mandy's trademark look is her constantly angry face, right? But there comes a moment when Mandy is forced not to only smile but to also look beautiful. Yep, that happens in the My Fair Mandy episode, where Mandy gets into a small argument with her female friend, and they need to settle one thing. Who's the prettiest of them all? The principal steps in to solve their problem and suggests they enter a beauty contest. Now, this was awkward for Mandy because a beauty contest is the last thing she wants to do, and at first, she tries her best to avoid it. But eventually, she shares this challenge with Grim and Billy, who agree to help her out. Grim even takes Mandy to his special makeup artist to give her a cute makeover. When the competition began, Mandy's turn comes last. Billy and Grim watch from the audience, shocked to see that Mandy actually looks a bit different. But there's one thing missing: a smile. So following Grim's signals, Mandy tries to force a smile onto her face, and after a lot of effort, she finally manages to pull it off. The only problem? Everyone who saw her smile was either blinded by her beauty or completely hypnotized. And here's a bonus fact. This episode has a reference to the Powerpuff Girls. We'll dive into all these fun references in more detail in future videos.